Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here tonight. My name is Jenna Jo Parker, and I have the privilege of serving as our board chair here at High Point Academy. I'm going to go ahead and call our board of directors meeting to order for August 26th. If you will please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. We start each of our meetings with the reading of our mission and vision statement, our 3 R's and an invocation. Tonight will be Debbie.
High Point Academy's mission is to cultivate lifelong learners in a student-centered environment.
And the vision.
High Point Academy's vision is to be an exemplary school of choice for academically minded families.
Thank you. And the 3 R's?
We practice the 3 R's: rights, the right to a quality education, the right to a safe environment, the right to reach my potential. Respect. I will respect my classmates. I will respect my teachers. I will respect myself. Responsibility. I am responsible for my education. I am responsible for my actions. I am responsible for my opportunities.
Thank you, Tika. And if you will join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Lord, thank you for the opportunities that you've given us, Lord. This evening, we are excited to be here for our first board meeting of the school year. Lord, thank you for our students, our faculty, our families, and staff. Lord, pray that they have a safe and enjoyable school year. Lord, thank you for every person that's sitting on this table serving on the school board. Lord, I pray that our conversations, our discussions are for the benefit of High Point Academy, and we just thank you for all that you've given us. And approval of the meeting agenda, one item, if it will be okay to add, we need to swear in Teresa onto the board. So I would like to add that item to the agenda as the first item under board business. Thank you, Kyle. Is there a second? Who's that? Sarah, thank you. All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? All right, agenda is approved. All right, where's the spotlight?
Ms. Buster.
I have several students here tonight that I am excited to introduce to you. And for elementary, we decided that we asked some teachers who in your class so far this year has just had an outstanding back to school time. They've had positive attitudes, they've adjusted well, they've helped new students, and these are the ones who quickly came to mind. So we're going to start with first grade. I want you to meet Eric Conlon. Eric, come on up here. Eric is in our multi-age class, and he's in first grade, which means he has worked really hard. He's gotten the swing of working independently. He works through his list every day and is an outstanding student. So great job, Eric. I'm so proud of you. Want you to meet our second grader, one of ours. Come on up, Lennox. And I'm sure he will have a great smile. This is Lennox Proctor. He gets out of the car smiling. His manners are outstanding. He greets everyone in the hallway every day, and I don't think I've ever seen him have a bad day or be sad. But he is one that just makes you feel good every single day, and we are thankful to have Lennox here. So congratulations. Our third grader, I'm excited to introduce you to Logan Manigan. Logan is a great friend. He also has wonderful manners and is quick to speak in the hallways. He's also helped new students here this year and getting adjusted to third grade. So we're so proud of you, Logan. Congratulations. Our fourth grade student was not able to be here tonight. So we'll move to fifth grade. I'm excited to let you meet Deborah Lyles. Deborah, Deborah has a nickname. I don't know if he knows this or not, but a lot of the teachers refer to him as the mayor because he walks around our elementary school, and you know what? He will approach students and adults, everybody in this building. He will speak to them. He uses manners, and when we did our tours last year, he was quick to come up to new students who were potential students and say, welcome to High Point, and talk to them. And that's very important to Deborah, and you have been off to a wonderful start.
So I am excited about my kiddo because this is one of our students that last year, I could have just squeezed him to pieces, like I was constantly with him. He also knew Mr. Sherman. Mr. Sherman spoke very highly of this student. So the one thing that I want to tell you is that we all at High Point pride ourselves in our diversity and our unity. And so talking about diversity and unity, Mark's family also speaks what? Ukrainian. So we had a new student this year to begin that does not speak any English at all. So we paired Mark with this young man, and not only has Mark been going above and beyond, Mark has stepped up in so many ways. He is working with this student to be able to be more proficient with his English. Mark has been interpreting things in the classroom from lecture to assignments. And then Mark also has been a great friend because he has sat with this person every day at lunch. And I'm so jealous because Mark can communicate with him and I can't. So I've had to go to Mark a few times and say, hey, can you say this to him? Or could you tell him this? So Mark, I just want you to know how super duper proud of you we are, and we want to recognize Mark Colton.
Max, if you don't get that next year, I'm going after you. Okay? Mark, one and two, okay? I get the opportunity to recognize 5 young ladies who walk faster than I run. These young ladies are tremendous athletes. They got to participate last year in making it to the state meet. We also have one other one that was a pole vault who is ridiculously crazy in the way that they can jump and do those kind of things, because I would never, ever put myself in that position. Because I don't even like over small things. So I want to introduce them to you today, and look, hopefully next year we're going to go after another state championship if we can get one. But Mr. Sherman, if you see these ladies running in the hallway, they're not running, they're training. So I'm just giving you that heads up. Miss Jaden Whitaker. Janasia Wilkins. Jordan Whitaker. Monty Slaughter. And Lily Thomas. You'll notice that we had 5 girls, but it was a 4x400 relay. We have to have an alternate, but in terms of a coach, that alternate is just as important as the other were, because she has to actually learn all 4 spots, and learn everything of handoff and everything. So she has to be the one to actually know how to take a handoff from everybody. So it's extremely hard to do that. So I'm proud of all those girls, and hopefully we will be back again next year. Thank you all.
Congratulations to each one of the students that were recognized here this evening. Throughout the year, we do try to recognize students for any number of things, whether it's academics, athletics, and your character. And it was great to see that highlighted here this evening. Our high schoolers, for your athletic abilities, not only are you excelling in that area, being a student athlete puts on that extra pressure for you. So congratulations for accomplishing what you have, as well as continuing in your education. And for each of our elementary and middle school students, for your character, that just warms my heart that that's something that is built in you and instilled in you that you're going to carry on further than these walls here. And that's a testament to all of our families, that you've encouraged the students to be student athletes and to do those good deeds for others. So I want to congratulate or thank our families also on your students' accomplishments. So give them one more hand. Our board meeting will continue. We do have some more business conduct, and you all are welcome to stay if you would like. It's a public meeting. However, if you do want to go ahead and leave for the rest of the evening, now is your time to make your way out. Thank y'all for being here.
You're awesome. Thanks, guys. Congratulations. All right.
Very cool.
Mark, you wanna stay here with us?
Yeah, you gonna share? Pass those around.
Mark, you have to share that with me tomorrow.
Sure, yeah, I would like to do it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mark, bring it with you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
You gotta open it. Eat it on the way home.
Don't give it, Mr. Sherman, he'll eat the whole thing.
No, don't be.
No, you don't have a kid.
Yes, it's.
You noticed he didn't give it to Mr. Sherman, like he handed it off.
Don't tell us the rest of it.
That's the best I can do.
There you go, Mark.
We'll make sure it happens.
Snickers?
I'm
No,
good.
no, no. No, you say good, Mark.
No, you go ahead.
Come on.
That's very kind.
Come on, man.
See you tomorrow.
Go home, Mark.
You say you take the hammer.
He's passing out to you.
That's right, I am,
Oh,
buddy.
you better
Thank
shut
you.
your mouth. Did not see Ready. Did not see Ready for Miller was involved in that.
It's okay. You're supposed to take those home, those are your presents.
Very good. Have a great day, y'all.
Have a good one.
So before you go, I'd like to share something with you. Laura. Oh, I'll share later. Yeah.
Thank you. That went a little off the rails, but I didn't want to really interrupt.
No.
I know, it's precious, yeah.
Okay, so our first item is our swearing in of our appointed board member, Teresa. If you will please stand. Mary Allison, there you go.
If you will repeat after me, raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I am duly qualified,
that I am duly qualified,
according to the Constitution of this state,
according to the Constitution of this state,
to exercise the duties of the office
to exercise the duties of the office
to which I have been appointed,
to which I have been appointed,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties thereof,
discharge the duties thereof,
and preserve, protect, and defend
and preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of this state
the Constitution of this state
and of the United States.
and of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
All right, our next item is approval of the minutes from the June 24th, 2024 meeting. Those are provided for review. Is there any changes or objections or anything needed?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Matt. Is there a second? Second. Debbie, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is our special meeting that we held on August 9th. Those minutes were provided as well for review. Any changes there, or is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Matt, thank you. And a second?
Second.
That was Sarah. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, up next is our financial report. Thank you all.
It's a hard act to follow. We can't agree.
Probably
we will do that.
Okay. So these are the July financials. I have to rotate them when I go down. Like so, I'll stick on the metric sheet first. The current budget is based off of 1230 students. The actual enrollment I didn't know, so I just put the same thing.
12:31. All right.
So yeah.
What are you gonna do with all that extra money?
The days cash on hand is higher than normal because July's we're only using 31 days, and daily cash burn for July was very low because there wasn't much expenses in July. With the even including the payroll accrual as on top of it, it was still very low spending. So that's good on your benchmark. It's always been over 100. Similarly, that's why the salary percent of revenue is lower. I even tried to bump it up by simulating what July's accrual would be. It's still lower because of the accrual there. The actual net income, therefore, is $599,000 positive for the month of July. The budget based off 1230 students that we put back in June projects a $206,000 bottom line. As we get into the year, it'll be more expensive. So start coming in way more in August. You'll see one of those, for instance. Let me rotate again. So, like as you can see, there's $15.8 million of expenses. July very low with about $76,000. That's with the payroll being accrued back to June, which is the big portion of that. So of that $76,000 expense, like the biggest expense besides like power, energy, etc., was $11,000 for Project Lead the Way subscription, which is actually reimbursable through that program. So one other note is you can, like we said, the revenue here is 9% used. You get your full funding for July split evenly over 12, but less expenses in that month. And part of that revenue is the teacher supply checks. So $31,000 received in July for teacher supply checks. That's $400 per qualified teacher. But the expenses had not yet come out. The money was received at the very end of July. So $31,000 of expenses for those teacher supply checks should be going out, and we'll see those on the August financials. And that's pretty much it for July. I know June's not in here. I can talk on that if you want. Okay, that's like it. So we still have to tie out some of the balance sheet items. We're gonna do it today, but we'll do it next week to confirm everything. I'm happier than I was, I guess, in May. You're still gonna have like a negative $500,000 bottom line, but that's including the roof repairs and capital items. So when you add that back in, your debt service coverage ratio should be above 1.1 still. But given that it's not like 100%, I wanted to send preliminary ones and then come back and make final ones later that were different. So I do more optimistic than I was in May, I guess, in that regard, but it is not yet finalized, which is why I want to go ahead and get used to something like that. But again, the audit's going to report it on a fund basis negative $500,000 or so, at least. But that's okay, given that $500,000 of it was spent on the roof repair, et cetera, for your debt service calculation. And
Question
also,
for you,
yeah.
how do we report that to the state as far as that, or to the bank? That coverage ratio, is that something we fill out or they just get you out?
they actually want the auditors to do it, the calculation. But yeah, basically we kind of fill out a form and give it to the auditors and they sign off on it and send it off with the audit as the backup. I think it's due, like that final calculation is due in the November, I believe.
What is your timeline on the June completion?
I'm coming back next Wednesday, the 4th, that's Wednesday. Yeah, so I'll be here on Wednesday to work with Stephanie to try to finish the majority of it, so that we get it in Mark Smith's hands to trial balance by mid-September, which means it'll be final on our end anyway, unless we make some adjustments on it.
Any questions for David? All right, thank you, appreciate it. Our board meeting schedule, just to come back to what our previous discussion, we are just gonna keep it as the 4th Monday of the month, with the exception of, I believe it was November is moved to the 1st Monday of November, and May is moved up or down one,
Up to early June.
up to early June. Yeah, due to Memorial Day. That was provided in the board document for review, and I need to give that to you to put on the.
It's in the folder.
It's in the folder, yeah, you got it. So I just wanted to circle back to that from our previous discussion. All right, and on to our school business for the superintendent's report.
Thank you very much. We'll start off. We like this quote. We actually got this quote from Dallas Burnett, who did our one-on-one training. And this is one of the quotes he used, and we just really liked it. And the fruit really is in the valley, but that's also where the work is. And that's where we are, deep in the valley. But the mountaintops are nice once in a while. Debbie's going more.
That's great.
She'll tell us about her inspiration, and we'll try to get the fruit in the valley. Moving on. Some important dates: our fall musical, our art showcases, and down there at the bottom, as you all know, graduation. Although it seems a long way off, it's just around the corner, and it'll be here before you know it. We'll have another group leaving on Friday, May the 16th. So just make sure that you have all of this and you're aware. Parents and kids love to see board members at events if you can make it. Obviously, you can't make them all, but the ones you can, they would love to have you. All right, I'll let they're getting screenshots. All right, anybody else need to take a screenshot? Hold on, we got 2 more. All right, moving along. General updates, our enrollment as of today is 1231. It was as low as 1218 and as high as 1237. As of today, it's 1231. Is that correct, Mr. Clemson? Moving on, some summer improvement projects. Mike, talk to us about what we did this summer.
So I won't go through all the details of everything we've done, but a few of the things that really kind of made a difference to the way we look. I do want to mention that we got, from the end of school last year and in the summer this year in McCracken and Welford, we've got a lot of free furniture given to the school. We've got 150 combo desks. We've got another 100 desks and chair separates, and another 100 chairs for elementary schools. We got some file cabinets and some large cabinets. We even got lines for the kitchen. So we were able to get a lot of really good stuff that we can use for the future of the school. We can go ahead and equip several classrooms already if we needed to do that. So I just think that's really cool that we got to do that this summer. We got to pick up all of that. Our front playground is one of our big changes. I think it allows you to see the front of the school a lot better. We took down the playground and all of the surrounding items, the basketball goals, and We're able to add in 34 parking spots for staff, which opens up places again for visitors and even vendors over here on the side that's a little closer than they were before. So it helps our staff out and it helps our visitors and our vendors as they come through. We made it a little easier for people to come in, to be able to get in through those doors, through those channels. And it just looks really good coming in to be able to see the front of the school. And another big one, our playground on our backside, we were able to move the fence, clear out some of the forestry there, and we added about 9,500 square foot, just under a quarter of an acre, with sod, grass, looks really good back there if you guys haven't been around there. So we've got, it's actually 0.22 acre that we're able to increase for the kids to play on, looks really good back there. Gives them a lot more room and some places for us in growth. So that's some of the bigger things that we did, and we're not gonna go through the 40 bathrooms and the 115 toilets, so, but that's kind of our big things to make a difference in the way that our school looks and impact our visitors and guests.
Any questions for Mike?
Is the, I don't know if I asked, is the roof completely done, no leaks, sitting pretty on that?
So our roof is completely done on the high school third. Now, you know, this side was done with the coating.
Yeah.
The high school third, it is completely done.
That probably
We did
could be
have
less.
one leak. Yeah, right. We did have a leak, unfortunately, but they came back out and they took care of that. It was in one of our high traffic leak areas. We've had a lot of trouble with that. They came back out. We've been good now for about 2 months. But, everything on that side has been, we've done really good on that side.
Do we have any leaks anywhere else in the building that we need to address?
We do have a couple of leaks. We do have, one in the STEM lab, the old shop.
Yep.
We have a leak there. We think we have a leak in the library. I think we've had them out and they fixed it, and then we saw another leak, and then we fixed it, and then we saw another leak. And we do have a air handler that has started giving us trouble just in the last few weeks. I think what we're seeing is coming from the ductwork on the air handler where our drain pan filled up and our pump went out. So we've got that taken care of now. So I think that's gonna be good. But our major one is out here. But we're
Is
working on that now.
Is the roof above the STEM lab, was it sealed by EIS before?
It was.
It's on that adjustment where the roof drops.
It is.
So it's got that
So
little
some of
movement
that
there.
transition wall, most of our problems happen on those transition walls. They have a lot of trouble getting tied in.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
How long is the new roof, how long is the warranty, like, how long will it come out and fix it before they start? Or
It's a long, I'll have to go back and look at it because I don't want to give you the wrong answer. But I think that they'll continue to come out just by me calling for the next 5 years, and then it's continued warranty after that.
What was it, 10 or 20?
It was a 20-year, but just me simply calling them for the next 5 years, and then we'll have to start doing some paperwork on that, sir. Let me give you that information and actually look at it, I think that's.
Any more questions? Thank you, Mike. Moving on, we are fully staffed. We only had about 7 positions to fill this year. We had very low turnover, which was very nice. Our director of communications and marketing left in the summer. She took a job at a bigger school system in another state. That position has not been filled, and that is something I'll probably discuss with the board at the next board as we roll out some other things. But other than that, we're full. Fortunately for me, I have voluntold a few people, and so people are working on the communications and marketing, even in the absence of the director. That's the beauty of having volunteers. Moving on. Shelley, it's all yours.
Well, speaking of mountaintops and valleys, I do have some mountaintops to show you and some valleys to show you as well. But I am going to give you the day report for the state testing our state mandated testing report. I will tell you right away that the schools, South Carolina school report cards, they will not be released until October the 10th, but they have released the embargo on this data, so I can share it with you for now. So what you're looking at right there is the South Carolina Ready test that they've taken the 3rd through the 8th grade in reading and math. And you can see that those numbers right there, the 55.9, for example, in reading, that is the percentage of our students that were considered meets or exceeds on the SC Ready test. And then in the middle column is the change from last year. Green indicates that it improved. And then math, just that's the score percentage, meets, exceeds, and the change on the black column, final column over there. And so you can see that there's a lot of green on that. We were very encouraged by that. And I want to just make 2 highlights on this page, and I'll let you kind of look over it and take it in, is that our 3rd grade, our teachers are rock stars in the 3rd grade. They are doing a phenomenal job in reading and in math. And that change of an increase in reading of 14, that's fantastic. And also a change in math as well, an improvement. So you can see that we are just super proud of our kids overall, our teachers overall. And then especially I wanted to point out how well 3rd grade is doing. We know that 5th grade, there's a drop there, and that's being addressed. We do have a plan in place to address that with some personnel changes, as well as some curriculum changes, modifications. So Ms. Buster and her amazing team, they are working to address that. And as well as in the 7th grade as well. They also have a plan in place to address those drops. But overall, just at glancing at our SC Ready scores, we were very, very pleased with them.
So the 3rd grade, for instance, is the change of 14.8, is that from those same students that were in 3rd grade last year? So is that a change from when they were in 2nd, or is that?
A change from 3rd grade to 3rd grade.
Okay.
From the score of the previous year.
And the dips that you see in 5th and 7th grade, did those, I'd love to see last year's, when those students were in 4th grade, did it dip? Is it in other words, is it a class that's behind, in which we could say, I think COVID year, they were in 1st grade.
Well, I'm glad you said that
could
because
be it.
that was a major thing in the
Or is
7th and
it,
5th grade.
or is it a consistent problem with our 5th group? Without impugning anybody, I'm just asking, if our educational.
I would have to answer yes to that question, both and both.
Okay.
And if you will, and like we have made some adjustments with some of the personnel and the curriculum, but then also I would say if you look at that 5th grade group of kids, they were in kindergarten, 1st grade when they missed.
Yeah.
First
grade.
Very important.
Which is
year.
gonna matter.
It's gonna matter, and and unfortunately, because of that, you see the impact of missing school. That is going to continue to trickle all the way through, and that is, I would say, very confidently, that's a trend statewide.
We also, in 5th grade last year, we had 2 maternities.
Yes.
And we had a teacher leave in the middle of the year.
Yes.
So 5th grade was just a disaster for us last year. I hate it for the kids. We've made some changes and hopefully that won't happen again this year, but we just really can't tell somebody how to get break.
Ms. Medford, I would love to see the trends, I always ask this question, the trends year over year.
Yes.
We see that at some point.
You absolutely can, and I will tell that in our charter, how I had all those documents, I had we can add that this year's column to kind of see that, but it obviously for this year, adding onto that line graph this year would be just gonna go up for the most part, except for in those 2 areas.
Off the top of your head, do you know, so the ones that are green, are there any that were, say, negative last year that shot up, this much? Obviously they changed, but do you have any that went from last year they were negative to now they're obviously positive?
I would have to look at that comparison. I'm sure we have I would think some of those that are in the like improvement, for example, of like the math or 1.8 improvement, may be in that situation. But I can't tell you without having that right in front of me exactly. If they went from being in the red to into the green, that's what I think you're asking.
Yeah, I would love to see like in the past 2 years.
We could do that. I can absolutely share that, data with you. I have a trend data document that goes back several years. And I could most definitely get that.
We can send that to you, and if you have questions, we can discuss them.
Certainly.
Is there, so with, let's say the kids that, the fifth graders that missed because of COVID, what is y'all's, I guess, overall plan to, I know you said personnel change in curriculum, but where do we see the biggest need that those kids need?
So what we do for that is not necessarily just because of COVID. We do that for all of our students, and we call it MTSS, which is multi-tiered systems of supports, where we have students that we talk specific students in our, we call it RTI process,
Right.
response to intervention, and the teachers meet with administration and they meet together to talk about students' data and if they need small group assistance. We have words and phrases we use like they're in tier 1 or tier 2, and
Right.
maybe this student needs to be moved into a tier 2 to receive extra support, or this group of students for these particular skills. So it's based on the data and it's based on interventions that we provided based on how they're doing in the classroom or on a math test. So a lot of factors go into what is the plan for this particular student or group of students. Not just, and it may include some changes in the curriculum or personnel. Those are kind of big changes, but
Right.
then on the day-to-day, it's working with those students to help close those gaps. And not just the students that were most impacted by COVID, but like from year to year for so many different reasons can go into a factor of why they need extra intervention or support.
I have one question. The ELA, do the new standards go into effect and they'll be tested
This
this
year.
spring? So those ELA scores were on the old ELA standards,
Yes.
is that correct?
Yes.
Were there any embedded items in there?
And we did a field test.
Okay, all right.
We did a field test. And this year, I will say on that note, we are adopting new math standards. So now they're gonna be at the end of this year, they will be tested on the old math standards, but we have to get ready because there's big changes coming to the math standards that will be in effect next year. Not just in the standards, but like moving standards around the different grade levels. The math pathways are changing.
Middle and
and
high
we're
will
already-
be greatly affected by the
Yes.
changes that are coming.
Yes, and so we are already having to go ahead and start anticipating that and making changes. Like teachers are having to make changes now in their facing guides and their lessons to get ready for that, so that we don't have kids with huge gaps when we do make the switch.
ELA will be easier for us than the math. The math is a huge change.
Major changes. So, but I do want to show you some more. I've done this last year, and I think it was just last year I started this. So if you can go to the next slide, this is where we think that this is an important thing to keep track of, because as a school of choice, we need to be competitive. And so we always like to compare ourselves to the other 7 Spartanburg districts. And this one was really encouraging to me. We are doing very well. There's lots of green on this one as well. This one is the SC Ready Meets or Exceeds in reading. It's hard to see that, but that's the red is us, what you just looked at. And then you can see the other 7 Spartanburg districts. The green indicates that we are, our scores were higher in that for this year, this past school year, than these other districts in reading. And so when you talk about, we talked about 5th grade already a little bit. And then there's your answer as well. 4th and 5th are kind of hand in hand. It's kind of very similar situation, but we're still showing improvements in 4th grade. But 3rd grade, like I said, our rock star teachers there. 8th grade, look at that. 6th grade, that's fantastic. So I think overall, this is very encouraging for reading of how we are holding up competitively with the other Spartanburg districts. So, and then if you go to the next one, I'll show you math. Okay, talking about valleys, we know that math is an area, and we've talked about the challenges that are even coming up next with, the changes of the standards, the pathways. So we, you know, in talking with our leadership team and our teachers, this is a good time to make some big changes to what the curriculum we use. We've already started one in middle school, for example. We have adopted a new curriculum, to supplement our Eureka math curriculum, which is called Math Nation. And it's supposed to really help those teachers, to help those students in what Mr. Herschel was talking about, those gaps and those specific students that are struggling with standards, help to supplement that. We have, our teachers are, you know, working with their standards, they're working with each other, and they're analyzing their data. Now, our math I would say math is you probably, you know, watch the news and all that. Math is a struggle right now, nationwide. They're seeing a struggle in math, but, we are not as green on this slide, but we do definitely know that and have plans in place to improve our competitiveness in math.
We're in D6, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you compare us to D6, we are actually very competitive with D6.
Yes.
Well, what you'll find is
The other ones that were.
the districts who have high poverty like we do, we outperform.
Yes.
Districts 1 and 2 and 3 have low poverty. And so they outperform us a little bit, but their poverty is like 40%. Ours is in 63 and 64.
Is D6 and 7 higher poverty?
D6 and 7 are probably in the 70s, D7 maybe 75.
So I was gonna ask those numbers, do you have access, like you have the data of the subgroups to get that percentage?
Yes. And we have looked at that, and we just actually, a few weeks ago, the principal and Mr. Sherman and I had a long conversation about, you drill down into those numbers.
Is there any subgroup that stood out as like really falling behind more than the others?
African American males in math.
African American males in math and special education across the board.
That's statewide, special education.
And we're included in that demographic. I mean, that is
We
definitely a
got
problem here.
13% of our students now would qualify as special education.
What's the state average, 11%?
Yeah.
10, so we're way up on our special education.
13%, what grade is that? Is that K-12?
K-12.
Which is high.
6% higher than the state.
Do you know what curriculum like these other schools are using?
Curriculum is normally not it's not the end all be all.
Right.
You know, what we've seen is it's teachers. I mean, it's just having good teachers. And that's, you know, especially 4th and 5th grade. 5th grade was an anomaly. Somebody asked it earlier. I mean, those same teachers have given us far better results in years past. That was an anomaly, but 4th grade was actually one of the grades that has had, not just this past year, but they've been full of first-year teachers. You know, we'll have a first-year teacher that comes in, they decide to stay home with their families, so we get another first-year teacher to come in. We just had a really hard time building some consistency with our teachers there. So you got young teachers that are teaching those grades, and that makes a difference.
But, you know, the tool, the curriculum is important, but it's more, we've found over the years, it's more important how the teacher uses the tool. That is the biggest indicator, impact factor.
Is there, and I'm sure there is, but what kind of assistance or mentor program do we have for the new teachers?
Well, in elementary, the two biggest things, I mean, we do partner them up with the veteran teacher. In elementary, they've got common planning, so they have that, but we also have a state-funded literacy coach. And that's a big deal for them to be able to go in, because their whole job is coaching teachers. So they've got the freedom to go in classrooms on a pretty regular basis, watch teachers teach, help them improve. Middle school, you know, We had a coach for a while, but for staffing shortages and things like that, had to come back in the classroom. The state-sponsored literacy coach is a protected position. You can't put them back in the classroom. So middle school hasn't had access to that. So really, as far as mentoring, if they're brand new first year, they'll do induction with Shelley. But one of the challenges of, especially here doing induction class is you might have a kindergarten teacher in it, you might have a 12th grade teacher in it. It's very hard to give specific instruction.
But we do
The best
make
way to
sure
help
that,
teachers get better is to be in the room with them, watching them teach and get feedback.
and that, what he was saying too is the mentor program, all teachers, whether they're first year teachers or they're just new to the building and they're veteran teachers, they are paired with someone that is their mentor, that's their person that they can go to and, get help from, ask questions, work their SLO together and, get a lot of help and support.
What, has anything changed? I know we had the ladies that we hired, Deputy Dean 1, Marcia, but it was just for 3 years, which I think ended last year, correct?
ESSER funds.
Yeah, ESSER funds. So what's happened with that, with our ability to utilize the data? And I think they were providing coaching and stuff like that too.
Well, I mean, truthfully, the ability has diminished.
Yes.
It's now relying on, Shelley and I do a lot with data, me mainly just because I'm a math person and I like numbers. But, even once we identify the calls, then it's looking at what resources do we have that we can throw at the problem. And I will say that has been a struggle. I mean, we don't have ESSER funds, we no longer have title funds. Ms. Cargill was an instructional coach for us. Our numbers in 5th grade, our enrollment in 5th grade increased beyond what we expected, which was great. But that happened about August and,
For this year.
or for this year, right? In August of this year, we're even find a quality teacher that didn't have a job yet. So Ms. Cargill was, gracious enough when Ms. Buster asked her to step back in the classroom. So over the course of a year, we have gone from having 3 part-time coaches and 3 full-time coaches to having 1 full-time coach that focuses on ELA. And that's by state requirement. So we're asking less people to do more. We're asking our principals to try to step up with their observations and do more walkthroughs and give feedback. That was the focus of our book study this summer.
Part of those coaches that were ESSER money were to help put a curriculum in and a way of doing things, and that is in place. Keeping up with it is a little more difficult because they don't have the people. So part of their job was to get us in a place where we could take care of ourselves. And in some areas we're there. Some areas I wish we had them another year, but that's not gonna happen, so we're just gonna have to make do and work. But we have met several times on this, and I think Kelly and Tammy have talked and are making the changes we need. And I feel a lot better about, we don't have as many young teachers. We've hired some veteran teachers to mix in with the young teachers in 4th and 5th grade this year. So I feel like we have a better mix. And I don't think we have anybody who's asked to go out for anything this year like we had last year. So I don't know. We're gonna keep working at it. Overall, Spartanburg school districts usually are in the top 25% of the state in scores. And the fact that we're outscoring them in a lot of areas. Remember, 5 years ago, our elementary school was one of the lowest in the state, and we were getting all kinds of extra money for that. So I think if you look at where we were and where we are, we've come a long way.
Well, and using, specifically in math, and using the resources that we have, we are trying to play off our strengths that we have built in. For example, our new assistant principal in the middle school, she's a math teacher, a middle school math teacher. And so that has come into play as a big part of helping that. Miss Cargill, she was our math coach last year, but she is in the classroom, but she is still such a team player that she's gonna help with math in elementary school. She's already said that she's, especially with the changes coming, and supporting the teachers where she can. So we're still trying to make the most of the strengths we have on our staff right now.
Is the RTI stored, what you're using for the data, right?
Yes.
Is that working?
Yes, it's working. Our principals are gonna go and receive some additional training, on being able to better maximize that in their different areas. So yes, that is something.
And then that's also like encouraging and empowering the teachers to see that and understand that.
And write
for
the plans,
themselves.
and
Yeah, they
yes,
can see it right on their own.
they've got all the information and demographics and test scores right there at their fingertips.
Is that mandatory this year? I know last year they were just kind of getting used to it, but
Yes.
Mandatory.
It's gonna be mandatory this year.
This is the first year that's mandatory.
Yes, sir. First year mandatory.
And if you can go to the very last, I think it's my last slide.
Go to the next one first. Let's look.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about, this is some exciting mountaintop to talk about. Okay, so let's look at ESC from last year, end of course testing in the high school. And you can see our scores there, and, remember a C is passing, A, B, or C is passing for ESC. If they make a D, it does not count as passing in state. So you can look at our scores for ESC, and they are fantastic.
Wasn't it 2 years ago that Algebra 1 was pitiful?
Very bad.
Well, way to go, you guys.
Yeah. And to be now at 52%, I mean, that's fantastic.
And I wanna say, 3 years ago, we started an EOC team, and our teachers have been working hard, our administration has been working hard with our teachers, and that team still exists. Tucker's creating another team, to work on some other areas, but this team needs, and go to the next slide, I think you'll see just how good our
There's our
EOC scores are.
comparison, that's another mountaintop for us. Look at biology and English swept all
English
7
is amazing.
districts.
So we are,
US history almost got there, and then algebra, from where we came from, they're doing fantastic.
we've outperformed every other high school in Spartanburg. When you look at the totality of our scores, that's incredible. In fact, I had, Shelley check, we beat York Prep. And they've always been one of the top ones. We have not taught, Greer Middle College, they're in the 70s and 80s and all theirs, but they have 5% poverty. We're sitting at 63% poverty. York doesn't have 63% poverty, and we've outscored them. So we have made some tremendous strides. Our teachers have worked so hard, and we're just so proud of where they are, but we can't get complacent. We got a lot of work to do still. We're not where we want to be. But, and Tucker, those teams are still leading, is that correct?
Yes, sir. First one on Wednesday.
So we're not holding back. We're still getting better as we speak.
You know, most of the districts in algebra are within 5 percentage points, except District 2. What are they doing?
Well, District 2,
Give them the answers.
Quincy Moore was their person over stuff for years, and she left about 10 years ago. And they're still using the stuff that she developed. She's now over SCAD. But they're still using her materials. Now, they're very rigid, but they've been working. Quincy Moore set all that up years ago. It's still effective for them.
Are the school districts, when we look at other charter schools, as a reference, because we compete against them?
We do. We looked at York Prep and we looked at Greer Middle College. York Prep has about 30 to 35% poverty, and we outscored them. Greer Middle College has 5% poverty, and they beat us. They're in the 70s and 80s and everything.
And Greer Middle College also has a minimum grade point average requirement to stay at school.
So you have to
You
have
can't
80
have
to
a
get out.
below
There you go. So it's
certain
a-
grade
it's a-
point average to
Is
stay there.
GMC our closest high school to us?
Maybe.
Right, I mean.
Charter high school,
Right now,
charter
you
high
got MVP and Libertas, they
Yeah.
don't have full high school programs yet.
MVP should, but they're right down the road.
Libertas goes through high school, I thought.
No,
That's
they're
eighth
But I
grade.
think the
The
plan
plan
is
is
to
to
eventually.
go
Oh.
away with them.
Yeah.
But I think just true high school, they might be our closest. They might be our closest.
Now they are.
Spartanburg Prep's eighth grade.
Green is 8th grade.
And so this one I wanted to show you, speaking of improvement. You see, you have the SC Ready ELA, SC Ready Math, and over the side the EOC, and you can see this is 2021. And what's significant about that year is that was Mr. Sherman's first year. And since Mr. Sherman's first year here at High Point, of course, there's been not just Mr. Sherman, there's been a lot of personnel changes, a lot of changes to our curriculum, a lot of changes to our procedures and how we do things. But if you'll notice, 2021 versus 2024, every column's green. every single college.
Did Brent have you put the slide in?
I actually discouraged this one.
Did you check the math on this?
I did check it out. So, because at first when I was thinking about putting it in, I thought, well, let me see what it says first.
That's good. You don't want to get fired tonight.
Yeah.
So that's on the table now?
So this shows that we are definitely in a improvement trend, which is fantastic. But like Mr. Sherman said, we have some areas that need special attention. We have some areas really close that we could slip under anytime. We have to stay vigilant and not be complacent, like he said, and continue to, stay on the data, stay on what the kids need. Because at the end of the day, it's closing those gaps for what those kids need.
And I had Shelley check today. This is going against the trends since COVID. Most of the state is going the opposite way.
Yes.
Our numbers are increasing where the rest of the state is going down after COVID. So where we're outperforming the state is going up while everybody else is going down. So I'm real proud of our teachers. We've asked them to do a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you. We have asked them to do a lot of things. We have pushed out a lot of things, and they have responded extremely well. They have worked very hard. They have taken ownership in it. They believed in it. And we have our scores because our teachers bought in and they're doing the right things in the classroom. None of this happens at my level. It doesn't happen at the principal level. This happens at the classroom level when the teachers buy in and they're willing to do what needs to be done to be successful. And that's what's happy about this slide is we have our teachers bought in doing what is right for kids.
And so when you see those headlines in the news and stuff about the doom and gloom for state scores in South Carolina, test scores and all that, we did check them, and we are higher than the state. So
Ours are going up,
ours
theirs
are
are going down.
improving. So you can say, when you hear that, don't panic about how far. We're in the right track. We just gotta stay there.
We got a lot of work to do. We're nowhere close to where we need to be. But we have some momentum and teachers need to see this.
Principals,
Teachers need to know
thank
this.
you guys so much. I know we often ask you to do more with less, but you guys are great. Thank you so much for your hard work and working with teachers to try to push us further. Thankful, super thankful for you guys.
If we all nod our heads.
I was like you said, I mean, yeah, it happens in the classroom, but it only happens in the classroom from the top down.
That's right.
I
Mr.
know
Lancaster will include you in that.
Yeah, Mr. Lancaster.
Attaboy.
I know that, the marketing, looking for someone, and I guess we haven't been able to release these until recently, but is there a plan to implement this data as part of your marketing?
Yes, we'll be rolling it out to you in the next board meeting.
I mean, I think that's the number one marketing tool.
I don't
right there.
disagree with you at all. I think you're absolutely right. We have to get that information out.
That goes above anything else. The data speaks. And like you said, we have some areas we need to improve, obviously, but we can roll that out to people so they can see the real numbers. That outshines the bells and whistles that we don't have because of funds.
There's some incredible marketing messages.
Yeah.
I'm not the one to develop those, but there's somebody in this world.
I was gonna call you in the morning. I was hoping.
Call
you-
me. Be good. I just, like I said, I know that information can't release it till a certain time.
I think it's released. I think we release all that now. Our report card grades cannot be released until October. I don't even think we've got ours in the portal yet. Once we get ours, then about 2 weeks later, we'll be able to see everybody's. And then we won't be able to release it until October 9th or 10th. What is the date, Michelle?
October 10th.
I feel like that we're seeing this earlier than we normally are.
It is a little bit earlier.
I'm so glad. Every year I'm like, why those are grades?
Yeah.
They did everything on computer this year.
I think that has a lot to do with it.
I wanted to ask that about the kids that are struggling. I know that at some point, my kids were like, I had to take this test on the computer. I'm like, you know how to turn it on, like how to type.
Kelly, do you want to speak to that about an issue we
Is
have?
that
Kelly has lots of that.
My teachers, last Thursday, we focused on writing. That's one of our big focus points in elementary this year. And so we started digging into those scores, and I handed my fifth grade math teachers helped out, and I handed them the scores. So we went through, and there's several criteria that means their writing is not scorable on the test. And it was quite discouraging because one of I think it's our current fifth graders now, 32 students, their writing was not scorable. That's 32 students who did not get a score for the writing portion. And the majority of that was for copying or not enough. And a lot of that has to do with this was the first time they ever had to type it.
They copied the prompt.
They copied the prompt.
They copied the prompt.
No, they can write it because we practice writing. So that was a big eye opener for our teachers, is that, oh, this is something we can definitely work on. But we realize the typing does have to come into play. That we're gonna have to build that stamina and, help them realize you're gonna have to type something that's, something worthy of turning in that's on a topic.
So we had 30 kids that we don't know, we didn't test their knowledge, we tested their ability to use the computer.
Which that's what that was. And, those scores were great, but if all of those had even scored 1 point, it would have been even so much higher.
They got
So-
zeros?
Yeah,
Yeah, they did not
ELA
even get a score for just the writing portion that factors into the ELA.
Yeah, the writing can only bring you up. So when we get our initial report for reading, you get one group and then they score higher on the writing. So
We
yeah,
lost
if you have,
32 kids that could have
We
brought
did.
something.
Right.
And that was just one grade level. The others aren't quite that high, but they're still high enough that it's disappointing to know that they didn't
What do
even
you
get a
do to
score.
prep for that for next year? How,
We have several, we're doing benchmarks right now, and the first one we did was handwritten. But the next two, we will practice typing. Even in like science responsive, they'll write them first and then type them, kind of things. I mean, we're gonna really practice that a little bit more so that it's not,
You're implementing that practice.
yes,
Awesome.
daily in class.
We're doing
Yeah.
science, not just in English, we're doing it in multiple
Right, and
subjects.
even our math teachers are writing more, but then the typing comes into other subjects. So that does play into it, that this was the first. Now, they're used to answering questions on the computer. That's not a problem.
Right.
But the typing, that was big. That was brand new.
And most of them are not good typists.
No, they're not.
And congratulations to Kelly and her team for finding that, because that's probably all across the state. And the fact that they've already found it and we're already working on it at the beginning of the school year and not 2 weeks before the test is a really good job on our administrative part to get that information to teachers so teachers can plan.
And they were excited about that because they're like, well, this is something we can do.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not a whole separate skill to have to teach. I mean, this is just to teach you how to do the test.
And they never would have found that if they had not really dug into the data
Mhm.
right off the bat.
The teachers went score sheet by score sheet and figured all that out, so.
And then to apply that to middle school, we've taken that baseline data and we've determined with a lot of encouragement is that we are doing our baseline right now. And then at the end of every quarter, we're gonna do common interim assessments so that we know where those students fall with every single quarter. Instead of, like Mr. Sherman said, waiting until 2 weeks before the test and going, oh my gosh, what do we do? So we tried to get ahead of the curve instead of backed up on after we know what the curve is.
So our administrative team, our coaches, there's a lot of things in place that we're doing. And the coaches we had before that were part of that team that helped put some of those things in place. So they were extremely valuable for us for 3 years and putting those things in place for us and helping us see all these things. So I'm very encouraged about what I saw. I would like to do better. Until every kid has 100, I'm not happy. That may never happen, but that is the ultimate goal, is for every kid to meet or exceed what the requirement of the state is. And when we get there, we'll go after the country that has the better schools.
Is there any idea what the school report card is going to reflect?
Me and Greg talked about that today. We think elementary will probably be average. I don't think we have enough growth in fourth and fifth to be good. We feel like middle school is probably gonna be good. We lost some points in math. We could go down to average. We kind of feel like high school is gonna be excellent, based on our graduation rate and our EOC scores and the growth we had. We feel like we could be excellent. We could be average, good, and excellent. Elementary, middle, and high.
And when you look at, as like a parent, you look at the report card, and when you see that average, good, excellent, or whatever, you think just that's test scores, but there are so many other factors behind the scenes that go into those scores that can influence it. And so it's, sometimes I think that school report card's a little misleading.
It is, because last year we should have been excellent in high school, but what wasn't done, what report wasn't done, Greg?
There was a certain piece of it where if you didn't have X amount of kids in it, you just automatically lost the points. And I think we were shy on like 5 kids or something.
So we lost points, and probably not just out of excellent in high school.
Because we only just excellent by a few points last year.
But I will tell you, it's the hardest to get excellent in is elementary. It is by far the hardest. Middle and high are a little easier. They're not easy, but elementary is the hardest to become excellent.
Yeah, it's not the same scale score. Sure. I mean, it's a 100-point scale, but excellent for elementary is like 65 and higher, and it goes progressively down as you go up.
I think high school is a little above middle school. I think middle school has the lowest score. High schools are a little higher because of the college and career readiness piece that they have to do. Any questions that haven't been asked?
It was good, like Matt said, to get those scores, now, and I'm sure that our teachers are excited about it too, so that's good to hear. Good day, Sam. Are there any public comments? All right. Is there a motion to go into executive session? Matt, is there a second? Josh, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, we're in executive session, but you got 5 minutes.
I'll put it on.